Now let's go over the the different Excel data templates that we offer and how to choose these right data templates. So as you can see in the right side section of the screen, we have a number of these templates. We have the org unit to position structure template. We have the position reporting template. We have the successor template, exchange rate, so on and so forth. So how do we choose the right template for each of the different needs? So it depends on the number of factors. I'll go over each of these factors very quickly. So the first one is that whether your current ERP holds an organization structure or an org unit structure or a position structure, that really is a main factor in deciding the right template, right data template. So the next one is what is the how complex is your data model? Do you have a one-on-one hierarchy in the sense, assuming you have a position-to-position reporting hierarchy? If you only have solid reporting lines maintained within your hierarchy, or if you have position dotted hierarchy with the manager position. So these factors also decide what tabs within the Excel template that you would need to fill. And then if you have effective dates, applied, then you'll have to choose the right template with the effective date enabled. And then also the type of data that you maintain currently decides the template that you would need to fill. For example, you could have some custom data that's maintained. In that case, you'll have to use the custom fields template. This is part of the extended data model that Nakisa HR Suite supports. And then assuming you go through an span of control analysis from time to time, and if you want to mass upload your different span of control upper and lower bounds, then the span of control bounds template will come in handy at that time. So these are the different factors that come into play in choosing the right template. Please feel free to reach out to your account managers or your solution engineering team at any time if you have any questions when it comes to uploading these data templates.
Sachin, I'd just like to add to this one, if you go back to the previous slide. So yeah, so some examples, you may have integration with SAP, with SuccessFactors, for example, and you realize that you're not using all of the standard data fields that we have. And then you have a new requirement that comes up. Data is not changing often, once a year, like performance management ratings, potential assessment rating, risk of loss information, etc. These are talent-related data that maybe you're not leveraging today, but you want to bring it in, and you don't have it in the ERP, you have it stored in an external system. So using the Excel template could be a good way for you to have a quick win. You're just uploading this data once a year because the performance management process maybe is once a year, and you can leverage the standard tables that we have with the standard data model for the performance management. Then that becomes very easy for you to leverage. And when we say one-to-one versus many-to-many, this is basically saying sometimes you may have information like an employee belonging to an employee group. An employee can be belonging to multiple employee groups, so that's one-to-many. But sometimes an attribute of an employee, such as age, such as, it could be anything. If it's just that attribute, then it's usually one-to-one. So again, you need to understand the data that you want to upload and the type of data, and then based on that, we will aid you with knowing which template to use and how to upload the data. So Sachin, sorry, back to you.
Yeah, okay. Perfect, thank you. Coming back. So this is one of the enterprise templates that we use. So this is assuming you have a position-to-position reporting hierarchy, then these are the different spreadsheets that you need to fill within your Excel workbook. So as you can see here, the spreadsheets are the tabs which are highlighted in which are highlighted in gold. For example, the employee basic info, the employee occupies position, and position belongs to position. These are the tabs which have to be filled before uploading the data into the template. And the other tabs that you see here, for example, the business unit, cost center, the employee compensation are some of the tabs which are not non-mandatory, and it could be added depending on the information that you want to showcase within the Nakisa HR Suite. So total there are 104 tabs which could be filled, but as you can see here, we have around 5 tabs which are necessary to be filled. So what I'll do is I'm going to be opening up the Excel template, and I'm going to be showcasing some of these tabs. But quickly, what I'll do is I'll show. Let's go ahead and do that. So this is the one. Let me open that up. Okay, now I'll open up the enterprise template, assuming you use assuming you maintain and position-to-position reporting hierarchy. Let's go over some of the tabs that are relevant. So the first one is the employee basic info tab. So this is an absolute must-have. So this consists of data such as the employee ID, then the first name, last name, display name, the gender. These are some of the important information that have to be added. So the second important tab or the must-have mandatory tab is the employee tab. This consists of the employee IDs and the date of birth. So the other tab which I wanted to showcase is the employee occupies position. So now that we have defined the employee and the employee related information, we'll have to define the position that each of these employee object occupies. So what I'll do is I can quickly search for the employee occupies position tab. So this basically shows what's the employee ID and what's the position object that each of these employee IDs are occupying. So that's the employee occupies position tab. And of course, each of these position objects will have to be defined. So that is defined under the position tab. So I can quickly go over and search for the position tab. Okay, there you go. So as you can see, this is the position tab where we define the different position IDs and what's the name of this position and what's the abbreviation. So then the last tab that is mandatory to fill is the position belonging to position or the position reporting to position tab. So let me quickly go ahead and search for the position reporting to position tab. Position belongs to position.
Yep. And Sachin, while you're searching for it, just to again emphasize, if you have an integrated solution with position management, you don't need to worry about these tabs because you would have it coming with the integration that is in place. So when do you look at this specific enterprise template? It's when you have information that you're not leveraging and you want to bring in via Excel, such as maybe performance ratings, potential rating, succession information, any kind of areas where you're not leveraging today. This is where you would basically remove all of the tabs that you already have through the integration. You don't need them, and only enable the data that you want to import in the Nakisa HR Suite relevant to the type of the HR processes that you're looking to bring in, such as performance data, talent assessment data, or succession data, just as an example. So yes, these are mandatory tabs for the structure to show. If you are not integrated, these are mandatory, of course, but if you have an integrated solution with the ERP, you don't need to worry about these specific tables. You would worry about the other information that you don't have that you want to bring in via the Excel template. So back to you, Sachin.
Yes. So, and now I wanted to quickly show some of the other non-mandatory tabs as Sharif was mentioning. So the first one is, let's say, employee compensation. If you want to bring in the compensation employee information of the different employees, then employee compensation tab will have to be filled. As you can see here, we have the different employee IDs that are available, that are mentioned, and for the different employee IDs, we basically say what's the compensation and what's the currency ID. And then the next tab which I could think of would be mandatory is the job information. So we have something called the We have something called the job tab where we define the different job IDs. For example, the payroll administrator, account executive, specialist. So we go ahead and define the different job IDs, and then we also have a tab called the position belongs to job, where you can go ahead and link the different position IDs with the different job IDs that I had showcased. So this is so this is basically to give a quick overview of our enterprise templates and to quickly showcase what are the mandatory tabs which have to be filled for the structure to show up. And also I wanted to quickly go over some of the other non-mandatory tabs that are available within the enterprise template. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to quickly check if there are any questions. Sharif, do you think there are any questions that needs to be addressed now?
No questions so far, Sachin. I think we can go to the next part.
Okay, perfect.